So good afternoon everyone. Some basic rules. Beginning at the start of every webinar I repeat these rules. So all of you are using the chat feature, so good, you are already aware of it. During the webinar there will be times when I will ask, do you have any questions? So at that time just type in your question in the webinar, in the chat window. While I am speaking, don't type any questions, because there is a high probability that I will miss out on that question. So type in your question only when I ask you to. Also keep your questions limited to the information on the screen. So if you have any question that is not directly related to what we would be speaking at that moment, then keep that question to yourself. After the webinar we'll have about 10-15 minutes where I can take some random questions as well. Okay, great. So today's agenda is, as you know, is about scholarships, and I'm sure everybody would like to get some type of scholarships. That's why you guys are here on the webinar today. So first we'll discuss the different types of scholarships. Then we'll elaborate on the factors impacting scholarship decisions. So as in, how you can improve, what are the factors that you need to take care of. I mean, some things don't actually matter, so probably you should not be worrying about those too much. Then thirdly, how to improve your chances of getting scholarship. This is very important. So it's not just enough to know the factors. You should also know how to improve your chances of getting a scholarship. The first type of scholarship that is available for international students quite easily, I should say, or more frequent than the others, is assistantship. One is teaching, it's called teaching assistantship. Then there is a research assistantship, and then there is a graduate assistantship. So these are the three types of assistantships that are available. Research assistantship is the one that is most commonly given out to international students. Teaching assistantships, to qualify for a teaching assistantship, you will need to pass some tests there. So teaching assistantships are rarely given out from the first semester itself. In fact, it might take you about a year to qualify qualify to become a teaching assistant. But research assistantship is the most common assistantship given out to international students. Some universities also give out graduate assistantships. In teaching assistantship, what do you do? As the name suggests, the teaching, that means you help a teacher, help a professor with teaching assignments. Maybe you grade the assignments, maybe you you help out in the content, but very rarely they will put you in front of a classroom. They might, the faculty might want your help in clearing students' doubts, etc. Right? So that is what a teaching assistant does. In research assistantship, it's simple enough. You help students. You basically, you join a professor's research group, and you help the professor in the research. Right? A lot of the times, in fact, most of the times, if you are acting as a research assistant, you might be able to get quite a lot of research publications. So research assistant is really interesting. The funding amounts are also tend to be higher. Then there is a graduate assistantship. In this, you are not helping a professor in research or in teaching, but you are helping in the university in different tasks. It can be managing a computer lab, or working as an assistant in different labs that the universities have. It can even be something as simple as helping maintain the university website, right? So these are different other miscellaneous tasks. They are not directly related to the professors, but different miscellaneous tasks that the universities need help with. So these are the three types of assistantships, right? You have any questions? Okay, so Nijar has a question: is research assistantship provided to coursework program students, or is it for research programs? Nijar, research assistantships are provided only if you opt for that for the thesis masters. So for the non-thesis masters or non-research masters, the research assistantship is not available. Saddam, your question is for PhD, do all schools provide research assistantship to all prospective students? Actually, for PhD, this unless you are involved in a research group, you cannot have a dissertation at all. So for PhDs, yes, most universities, they give full funding, and most of this funding is in the form of research assistantships. There are some universities which do not give 100% scholarship, right? So, but they are very rare. But for all practical purposes, you can assume that that US universities, they give 100% funding to PhD students, and the funding is in the form of research assistantship. And that research, you are not just randomly helping a professor with his research project, you are actually working on your dissertation, right, Saddam? Does that answer your question? Most of these assistantships, they are very often combined with fee waivers. So they can give you some assistantship, and this is for master students obviously, so they will combine it with fee waivers also. So instead of paying outstation fees, you might be asked to pay in-state fees. So that's why assistantship is, if you get an assistantship, it's really good. Automatically you will be considered for in-state fees, plus you will be getting a stipend, and that stipend is usually more than enough to pay your fees, as well as take care of your cost of living. So assistantships is, if you are able to if you can manage to get an assistantship, nothing like it. Most students end up getting some sort of assistantship after the first semester. This is what we have noticed. But obviously, in bigger universities, it's a little difficult because the number of students are also more. In smaller universities, that means universities which have small intake, almost all students end up getting some form of assistantship, either teaching, research, or graduate, something or the other. They are able to manage after the first semester. In fact, very often students get during the first semester also. So after assistantship, there is scholarships and fellowship. It's a different category of financial aid. Now there is a difference between assistantship and scholarships. So in assistantship, if you get an assistantship, you have to do something in return, whether it's teaching or research work or some other assignment, but you have to do something in return. On the other hand, scholarships and fellowships, they are awarded by the universities. You do not have to do anything in return. So there is a technical difference between assistantships and scholarships, fellowships, right? So and scholarships and fellowships are usually given on the basis of merit only. A lot of universities, after the first semester, after the first year, some students are selected for different types of fellowships, such as dean's fellowships, dean's scholarships, etc. Right? So so there's, as I said, some minor technical difference between scholarships and assistantships. Both of these are financial aid given by the universities. So again, scholarships are handed out based on merit. Most universities give 100% scholarships to PhD students. So answering Saddam's question, so even if they are, and this scholarship, by the way, is in the form of assistantship. So it's a minor kind of technicality. Right. Any questions on this? Okay, Mobena, your question is, how can we get that assistantship? Well, it's a part of the application process. So I'll be in this slide, I will talk about how to, what are the factors that impact scholarship and assistantship decisions. Akshay, you do not separately apply for fee waiver. There is no separate application for it. The online application, the application for admission is itself enough. There is no separate application for fee waiver. Okay, Akshay, does that answer your question? Right. Now the more important thing, in masters and PhD, there is no separate scholarship or financial aid application form. The online application for admission is more than enough. So based on the application that you submit, the universities will assess that application on different points, and they will decide whether to give you scholarship, assistantships or not. First of all, the decision for giving scholarships, assistantships, etc. depends on the university. That is understood, right? There is no external agency involved. Unlike scholarships for UK universities, there are some external agencies also that give scholarships, right? That British Council has a list of external agencies that give scholarships to students wanting to go to the UK. But in US there is hardly any external scholarships. The US universities have a lot of funding. They get a lot of funds from industry. I mean, they have lot of funding. So the scholarships and the financial different types of financial aid, assistance, etc. That depends, or those decisions are taken solely by the university. It depends on the program also. Some programs, for instance, computer science is a very competitive subject, especially for international students. So it's comparatively more difficult to get scholarships and assistantships if you are applying for masters in computer science, as compared to probably electrical engineering or chemical engineering or petroleum engineering. So the more niche or more selective your master's degree major is, the higher are your chances of getting assistantships and scholarships. In fact, in one of the universities, like one of our students had got, so he had applied for metallurgical engineering, and he got 100% scholarship on a GRE score of 305, right? But same university, somebody had got admission for MS in computer science. He had a score of 328, and still he did not get any scholarship. So the major that you apply for, so that also has a huge impact on your chances of getting the financial assistance. Some majors are more competitive than others. In this case, computer science is really competitive, and it's extremely difficult to get assistantships or scholarships if you are applying for masters of MS in computer science. You will need very high GRE scores, etc. The most important thing that universities look at before deciding whether to give the scholarship or assistantship is your research work. Research work means whatever you are doing during your bachelor's degree. What are your senior what are your final year projects, how many internships have you done. So all that, more than the GRE score or more than your academics, the research work component of your application carries the maximum weightage in university decisions for scholarships and assistance. You will definitely need a strong academic record. They don't care about class 10th and 12th marks, by the way. So your bachelor's degree marks, if you are applying when you are in the 4th year, so you will obviously have marks only for the first 3 years. That is perfectly fine. So whatever your academic record is, if you are in the top 5-10% of your class, then your chances of getting financial assistance increases a lot. One important thing is a strong SOP. What is an SOP? All of you know what an SOP is, right? It's statement of purpose. So every US university, during the application process, you have to write a statement of purpose. It's extremely important. If you are able to portray or present your profile in a strong manner, it significantly increases your chances of getting financial assistance. And for international students, you will need a TOEFL score of at least 100. So a lot of students don't know about this, right? So make sure that when you are taking your TOEFL exam, yes, you will need a decent GRE score, obviously, but a TOEFL score of at least 100 is very critical. So make sure that your TOEFLs, and TOEFL is out of 120, so getting 100 out of 120 should not be that difficult, but obviously you should know that you need a minimum 100, right? Nitesh, you have a question. What comes under research work? So I think I did talk about this a bit, that under research work, your final year project, any kind of papers, if you have publications, or any kind of industrial training, any seminars or conferences that you have attended, all of that are covered under research work. Ayushi, your question is what about IELTS? See, for US universities, TOEFL, all the universities accept TOEFL, but IELTS is accepted only by about 50% of the universities, right? So so you need to take TOEFL. If you are targeting US, do take TOEFL. Akshay, your question is, I had my research papers published in open access journals. Does that help in seeking? Yeah, it helps. Of course, it is not as good as an international publication or international journal, or conference proceedings or patent, obviously, but yes, even open access journals are also okay. Yeah, Ayushi, this conversation is mainly based for US. In UK, there are hardly any universities give hardly any scholarships. For UK, you should be exploring external scholarships, and the information is available on British Council. If you are looking at US as an option, then this entire actually information that we are going to discuss today is about that. Shrikesh, TOEFL is not accepted in UK universities. UK universities accept only IELTS. So Sheetal, your question is, if we prepare for IELTS, is it sufficient for me to give TOEFL, or is there any significant difference? The content of the exams not that different, but the way they are conducted is totally different. IELTS is a paper pencil test, TOEFL is a computer test, so and the types of questions are different in both the exams. So if you are preparing for IELTS, then based on that preparation, you are not ready to take TOEFL. It's you need to take at least 3-4 full-length TOEFL test, TOEFL mock test before you get ready to take the exam. Okay, Sheeta. Ketan, I already said that I mean it improves your chances if you are in the top 5-10% of your class, but it does not mean that you will not get at all if you are not in top 5-10%. If your academic record is extremely poor, let's say that if you have lot of backlogs and arrears and that you have failed a year or two, then it becomes almost impossible to get any kind of to be considered for any kind of scholarships or financial aid, right, Ketan? Okay, any other questions on the factors impacting scholarship decisions? Okay, Tanya, your question is, can we get into good universities based on TOEFL score? So are you asking that whether you can get into good universities based on only TOEFL score without GRE? Is that your question? So if that is your question, then it's not possible in the US. So if you are not inclined to take the GRE, then you should not be considering the US. Yes, Tanya, both GRE and TOEFL are compulsory for US. There will be some courses, some colleges where they will not require GRE in the US, but they are not good colleges. I will not recommend anybody to go to those kind of colleges. You will find better colleges in India. Nidjar, your question is, will experience matter? For MIS type of courses, some colleges they do give weightage to experience, but today's discussion we are limiting the discussion only to scholarship information. We had a webinar already on the admissions criteria, etc. Please feel free to go and watch the recording. I don't want to bore the rest of the people who have already attended those webinars. So today's webinar we are sticking only to the information regarding scholarships. Okay, I hope you guys don't mind, rest of you. Ayushi, yes, IELTS is acceptable in the US. Please go to the website IELTS.org. You will get a list of universities, US universities that accepts IELTS, but IELTS is accepted only in about 50% of the US universities. So go through the list. If the colleges that you want to go to, if they accept IELTS also, then it's perfectly fine. So Ayushi, I think this is my answer to your question, that in case you want to apply to both US and UK, first go to IELTS.org and check out the list of colleges that accepts IELTS. On Nirjar, no, scholarship does not depend on job experience. Charan, your question is, what if I don't have good bachelor's record and perform well further? Are there any chances? Yes, there are chances. So right at the time of admission you might not get scholarship, but after the first semester there or first year there, and if you do well there, then yes, there are chances. Fellowship is a Nitesh, your question is, what is fellowship? Fellowship is a type of scholarship. I wanted to leave this till the end, that one of the most important criteria, I should say, one of the most important things that impact scholarship decisions is networking with professors. That's extremely important. That's because the scholarship decisions depend on the universities, right? So if you are interested in a university, you should go to the university website you should find the professors in whose research group you want to work, and then write to those professors with your profile, right? So networking with professors is extremely important, especially those of you who are applying for PhD. So I understand some of you are probably thinking of applying for PhD programs. For you, it's extremely important to network with professors, because they are the ones who will finally decide whether to take you in their research group or not. And if they decide to take you in their research group, then everything else doesn't matter. Now I just want to elaborate on what comes under research group. Projects. Now this is a list of stuff, you guys can either take notes, or this the recording of today's webinar will also be put up on the link that I gave you in probably another 2-3 days time, so you can refer to that as well. Papers, presentations and publications. So this paper presentation, they need not be huge. If you have presented, or if you present any paper in a inter-college competition, or department function, or technical fest of your university, that also counts, right? Industrial training. For engineering students, some universities in India, they have a mandatory industrial training thing. So you can present the industrial trainings also as research work. And then of course participation in seminars, conferences, paper presentation competitions, even at the college and department level, all of these can also be presented. Please understand, I am talking about presenting what you have done as research work. You might not have done any earth-shattering research, that's fine, but whatever you have done, it's more important to present it as research work. Those of you who have work experience also, I'm sure you guys do a lot of projects, etc. So those projects, those work, if you can present them as research work, present them more in the light of research work than corporate work, it will improve your chances of getting financial assistantship. Most of the assistantships are in the form of research assistantship. Another important thing, participation in activities of academic societies such as IEEE, CAC, etc. How many of you have heard of IEEE, CAC, these kind of societies? And CAC is for computer science. So similarly, mechanical engineering and all, they also have these societies. So if your college does not have these societies, then these are like international societies, and they have chapters. Like if there is a college called, let's say, NSIT, so then it will be like the NSIT chapter of IEEE. So they are called like these. So if your university, if your college has these, then you should participate in their activities. They can also be presented as research work. I mean, you can send your research papers to be published in the IEEE or CAC magazines, right? So getting any type of publication, is always helpful. How many of you are here in? How many of you are in second or third year? Anybody in the second year or third year? Okay, great. So those of you who are in the second year or third year, so you guys actually, I mean, it's very good for you. You can now start working on these things. Those of you who are in your final year, obviously there is not much time left, but people in the second year, third year, please utilize the rest of your time now to make your profile stronger. Try to do all of these things so that when you apply for your master's degree, your profile will be strong enough to be considered for research assistantships or different types of scholarships. Worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario, if you are not able to get any publication, if your college does not have any international societies, you can do a technical blog. I saw a question about some open source journals, right? So you can do that as well, but in fact, even after publishing in open source journals, you can have a blog. All of you can actually do that. You can have a blog, and you can write your, it can be literature reviews, it can be research data, it can be some papers, whatever you can write there. So maintaining a blog where you write about technical stuff, related to whatever you are studying, that also helps. Now just remember one thing. Let's say that you have done a literature review on a review on some subject related to your topic. So and you make the blog post. So at the bottom of the blog post, please write the copyright right symbol. So write copyright your name and then bracket just write private. This is very important to copyright anything on the internet related to research. Otherwise, somebody else might use it as their own. So if you can make a blog, where you are talking about any small post would also do. If you are able to do something weekly or in 10 days thing, right? Any questions? Okay, Nirjar, your question is: I was a former member of IEEE for 3 years. Yes, of course, it will matter. Akshay, your question is: school level certificates in NTSC and Olympiads matter. Yes, they will showcase you as a good student, but these don't have any research angle to it, right? So actually these will be counted in your in the academics part than in the research part. Kanav, your question is: websites can be shown as projects. Yes, websites can also be shown as projects. Akshay, your question is: when should we start networking with professors if someone is applying for fall 2016? Well, now is a good time actually. All the colleges in the universities, all the universities in the US, they are now open. Their fall 2015 semester has started. The professors are have joined back work, etc. So this is a great time to start networking. In fact, the October then December part, it's not a very good time, because October is all this Halloween, Thanksgiving kind of thing. Then December is Christmas, New Year thing. So they are usually not that good times. A lot of university professors, they go on vacations, etc. So September is a great time. September, even November, these are great times to start networking. Especially given the fact that the deadlines, your university deadlines will start from December. Some universities have deadlines in December, some will have in January. So if you are targeting fall 2016, then all the networking with professors part you should be starting soon. Parag, that's okay. Even if you have not given your GRE yet, it's okay. You just, when you write to professors, obviously you will not write about your GRE score. That is not that important. So anyway, let's talk about. I'll elaborate a bit about that, right? So how to network with professors, I'll talk about that a little bit later. Right now, remember, a good SOP is a very important factor when it comes to deciding scholarships, assistantships, etc. So let's first understand what do we mean by good SOP. Okay, John, you have a question. Let me take this. I was the member of Microsoft Student Partner. Will it be helpful? Yes, it will be very helpful. I'm assuming you have the necessary letters and all of that, right, John, to prove this, of course. So an SOP should tell a story. Content and flow are more important than the language. See, an SOP is not a test of your vocabulary. It's not a test of your English language knowledge. It's not GRE, right? So don't try to use all your GRE vocabulary in the SOP. And SOP should be simple, straight. The content and the flow is actually far more important than the language itself. A lot of people think that let me start the SOP with some famous quote, and they use a lot of flowery language. That's actually a very bad idea. The SOPs are supposed to be technical. You are supposed to be using the SOP to showcase your technical expertise, right? How much you know, what you have done, etc. So don't make the SOP, it's not a literary piece, it's a technical document. A good SOP should address a few questions clearly. What do you want to pursue? I have covered this actually in one of the earlier webinars also, but because SOP is such an important part of the scholarship, entire assistantship and scholarship decision process, so I'm just repeating some of the information. Those of you who already know about this, just do bear with me. So your SOP should clearly state what you want to pursue. very often students write random language such as I want to do a graduate program, or I want to go for higher education. So that does not make sense, right? Write clearly what you're applying for. Is it masters in computer science, or is it PhD in chemical engineering? Give the exact name of the program and the exact name of the degree that you are pursuing. Do you have the adequate academic background to pursue the degree? So this is where you write about your bachelor's degree curriculum, projects, etc., to prove that you have the academic eligibility to pursue the course. So in curriculum, of course, if you have taken any kind of electives, that to strengthen your knowledge, and if that is in sync with the master's specialization that you are applying for, all of these, then you need to write in this part. And this actually is the major chunk of the SOP. 2-3 paragraphs you will be spending on this point, right, where you will be giving examples of your industrial training, your projects, anything to showcase that you have got the academic background and research background to be considered for that program. So this comprises like the 80% of the SOP. This is one important point that students miss out on. Why are you applying to that university? Most of you will be applying to minimum 5-6 universities, and very often you will be using the same SOP to apply to all the universities, which is perfectly fine, right? No problem with that. Only thing is that you have to change at least one paragraph of the SOP to match the university. Okay, so like using things like stay away from cliches such as this university has world-class faculty, cutting-edge technology, state-of-the-art infrastructure. These are very cliched phrases, and universities see through them, right? So they don't want to see these kind of fake stuff. Do some research and give specific reasons why you are applying to that university. Now, what do I mean by specific information? So research the university, name some courses that you want to take, name a couple of faculty members, right? So in whose research group you want to work. So what happens is that when the university sees the SOP, let's say, and if they see that okay, these 2-3 faculty members are named, so what they do is that they will forward your entire application file to those professors. So they will have the first chance to assess whether they want you in the research group or not. That's why it's extremely important to write at least one paragraph in the SOP that is specific to the university that you are applying. Then the last part, which a lot of students miss out on, is why should the university admit you? Okay, so this is where you write something personal about what are your career goals, what are your strengths, how are you different from the rest of the applicants. So it can be a short paragraph, but still it should showcase you as a person also. Why are you unique? How are you different from your peers and the rest of the applicants? Okay, so this is what a good SOP should contain, and the importance of good SOP is huge. Any questions? Okay, I see Tania's question. If we are applying for fall 2016, then how and when should we start for applying for scholarships? Tania, I already addressed this in previous slide, that there is no separate application for scholarship. So the application form that you send for admissions, that itself is enough. There is no separate scholarship application form. Saddam, your question is, can it be sort of biography including scientific interest? Yes, it can be. Yes, but it should contain technical language. What I mean by technical language is that if you are talking about your project, then write the names of the technologies that you are using, the what was the objective of the project, what are the findings. Use basically technical language. Yes, in Jamboree we do help writing with SOPs and all, but that is something, Akshay, you can just, after this webinar, you can drop an email. I'll give you an email ID and we can get back to you. So in today's webinar, these webinars are mainly are information webinars, so so the detail about how Jamboree helps etc. is not something that we'll discuss right now, okay, but I'll be more than happy to address your question if you drop an email later on. Okay, any other questions? Any other questions on writing the SOP? See, an SOP should be around 750 to 1200 words. Some universities will have a word limit of 500 words. In that case, you have to stick to the word limit, of course, right? And do not leave the SOP writing till the end. This is something you should be doing, side by side with your GRE preparation. You will probably end up making 4 or 5 drafts, before you finalize on an SOP. Mohit, your question is, do we mention projects which are not related to our course? Yes, Mohit. You mention any kind of research project that you have done. It need not be directly related to your course. See, the objective of writing about the projects is that to showcase your ability to do research. It need not be in the exact field for which you are applying. So Charan, your question is, when should this SOP be given? Charan, the SOP is a part of the online application. So when you are submitting the online application form, so it goes along with the online application form. So you have to, in the online application form system, you have to upload the Word document of the SOP. Ashan, your question is, when do we start sending applications? November. Okay, see, online applications of universities are already out. For masters and PhD application, the admission and financial aid are given on a first come first serve basis. So admissions and scholarships are given on a first come first serve basis. So the sooner you apply, the higher are your chances of getting admission and scholarship. So you should apply as early as you can, irrespective of what the deadline is. You should apply as early as possible. For PhD, the seats get full by January. So you should, if you are seriously want to get an admission for PhD, then actually there is no point applying after December. The seats get full. So those of you who are thinking of applying for PhD, please send in your applications in December. Mohit, your question is it necessary SOP to be research oriented, or it can be practical application based as well? See, Mohit, a practical application part is also a part of research, right? Research does not mean theory only. Ashan, your question is, for MS, is October still a good time? Oh no, October is great. October is great. Even November is great. Don't, that's perfectly fine. Mohit, your question is, majority of my projects have been application based. It's perfectly fine. I mean, when you have built a technology or something, with practical application, then the whole building of the technology itself is the research. So it's perfectly okay. And please, research does not mean theory. Research means everything. Research means finding something on your own. That's the meaning of research. No, Sheetal, NGO certificates, no, not beneficial. Does not help. Okay, so earlier I was talking about networking with professors. Networking with professors, that means email. Network means email. You can't go and visit, obviously. So networking for you means actually emailing. So networking significantly improves your chances of getting research assistantships, no doubt about that. So this is the process that you should follow. Go to the department homepage of the university that you want to apply. Find the list of faculty. So remember that you have to go to the department homepage. So if you are, let's say, if you want to apply to University of Maryland College Park, let's say. So you go to the website of University of Maryland College Park, and let's say that you are applying for MS in mechanical. Go to the mechanical department website. So from the mechanical department website, find the list of faculty. You will find a link there. It says faculty. Go through the research areas of each faculty. Right? Pick 2 to 3 faculty whose research areas match your research interest. Email these faculty before applying and after applying. Very important. So before applying to the university, just write to this faculty, and when you write to faculty, write individual emails. Don't write like reply all kind of things. Just write individual email to each faculty saying that you are interested in their research group. Also write why you are interested in their research group. One short email. Do not send any attachments because they are not going to open the attachments. Don't make the first mail too heavy. And after applying, write to them with the application number, so that I have applied to your university and this is my application number, so that if they want they can look up your application. So email this faculty both before and after applying to the university. So write the names of this faculty in the SOP for that university. That is of course understood. So let's say that you wrote to 2-3 faculty members. One replied, the other 2 did not. Send another email to those 2. If they still don't reply, then write to two different faculty. So somehow just if you can find 1 or 2 faculty in each each university, that's great, right? And then include their names in the SOP, that that in my interactions with Professor X and Y, I realized that this university is perfectly fit for or perfectly suits my research interests, etc. When you write to faculty after submitting the online application form of that university, include the application number in the subject of the email itself, so that they open the email, right? So these are some basic do's and don'ts, and it's extremely important. It will take some time, obviously. As I said, people might not reply to you the first time itself. Okay, there are some questions I see. Asta, your question is, I don't have transcripts yet, neither TOEFL marks nor GRE marks. How do I network with professors? I think I already answered that. In your first email to the professors, you don't have to write actually you should not write about your GRE marks, academic marks, etc. The first email agenda should be to express your interest in that professor's research. So you should express your interest in joining that professor's research group. So talk about your research interest and why you are interested in that professor's research. Nitesh, your question is, I had an active participation in SAE but is thinking of applying in computer science course. So should I mention it? Yes, you should. It will only help, no harm. Akshay. Okay, yes, Akshay, thanks for answering Asta's question. So Asta, now are you clear? So everybody clear on how to start networking with professors, what to write in the first email, etc. For PhD students, anybody, if you are applying for PhD, you need to start off immediately. PhD students is extremely important. Master students also, it's not mandatory, but if you want to significantly improve your chances of scholarship, then you should. But for PhD students, it can actually have a huge impact on your admissions also, right? So these are some resources. Some of you, if you have any specific question about about anything, so just you can write to this ID, or if you have any specific question about what Jamboree does to help you with the networking with professors or with SOPs, etc. If you want to know about that, then write to us at this email ID. When you write to this email ID, please mention 2 things: whether you are already a Jamboree student or not. Second, if you are already a Jamboree student, then which center you can go that you go to. So in that case, then we can actually set up your meeting at that center itself, right? So if you decide to write to this email ID, then please make sure that you include these 2 information. On our website, there is a comprehensive list of deadlines, right, for 2-3 major programs. So this will help you plan your GRE and TOEFL exams, etc. So you can refer to them. The webinar recordings, as I said, you can find them in this link. So whatever the 3 previous webinars that we have conducted, you can find the recordings here. If you have any trouble accessing, then feel free to write to us. Again, this is the email ID for all communication. And yes, if you have any questions, any more questions regarding scholarships, etc., then I am here to address them. Okay, thanks Akshay. I hope I'm glad you found it helpful. Oh yeah, Ayushi, thank you. Thanks for your Teachers' Day wishes. Thank you. We are done. So I am done on my part. So feel free to log out. And if anybody has questions, I am here for the next 10 minutes. Otherwise, the rest of you can feel free to log out. Thank you for coming online. Have a great weekend.